What if I told you that you could have a 365% increase in performance at the end of the year? Sounds almost too good to be true. But actually, if you were to break it down, my big suggestion is can you make a 1% change every day in what you're doing to produce revenue or grow your business? Because if you were to make a 1% change every day by the end of the year, you have a 365% change in how you showed up in your business. It sounds so simple, and yet a lot of us make it really complex. I did for a really long time. I used to say, okay, well, I need to do a big project. I need to do something massive. I need to do something out of the ordinary. I need to just blow people's minds when in all actuality, what I needed to do was just 1%. So, what does 1% look like for you? What does it look like for me? Well, the power of 1% has radically changed the way my business has grown year over year. Because, like you, I would get really excited about new ideas. Who doesn't love ideas? I love ideas in any shape that they take. But then I would find myself feeling frustrated because I had more ideas than I could actually make things happen. And sometimes, every so often, I would get so overwhelmed with all of the ideas that I couldn't deploy against that I wasn't taking any action at all. Because if it wasn't as big as that big idea, well, then was it even worth it? Maybe you're not alone. Maybe it, like me, you want to do more than you have time, capability, capacity, money, investment, or even support of. So I believe, and I've learned firsthand, that the secret to meaningful change is a lot simpler than you think. It doesn't require fancy degrees. It doesn't require anything special. In fact, I'm a very simple girl. And if this simple girl can do it, and I'm inviting you to do a 1% change, well, then great. Because the only thing it requires is a commitment. That's it. It's you waking up every day and saying, you want to know what today is? Today is 1% more. Can you get better 1% more in the areas of life and your business that will absolutely make a change? Now, I understand it doesn't feel flashy, but over a period of time, the results are pretty dang significant. I realized that when I would do one small course of action every single day that was different than I had done the previous day or the previous week, I started seeing really big results over time. There's this idea in finance, it's called compounding interest. When you look at compounding interest and you're like, oh, that's like 1.5%, that's 2% compounding interest. It feels really small in one day or 1 week or 1 month. It even feels small over a year. But compounding interest over time, it'll blow your dang mind. So when we talk about making these 1% changes that compound over time, what does it actually look like for you? Because everybody's 1% probably looks a little bit different. Maybe you want more ideal clients. Maybe you want to fill your funnel with prospective leads that are qualified every single day. Well, it's just not going to happen, right? Maybe you send a direct message to somebody who you think is a prospective lead. Now, you're not pitching them, you're just introducing yourself. You're leaving a comment on one of their stories. You're leaving a comment on one of their posts. Basically, what you're doing is you're creating a human-human connection that is actually, at one point in the future, a human-to-business connection. Friends, that's more than a 1% change. Maybe you really want to start a membership. Maybe you really are ready to offer a digital offer. Okay, well, oftentimes we're like, I have all of these big ideas and there's so many things. And because I don't know how to do that, I just won't get started. Listen, nobody knows how to accomplish a dream that is bigger than their capacity at the present moment. But everybody has the capacity to brainstorm, to block off 10 minutes, just brain dump. What are the things you think you're going to need to do to launch that membership, to launch that course, to create a PDF, to create a video series, to create an ebook, to go live, right? To start a podcast, to build that website, to build your newsletter list, to build out a partnership. Nobody knows the answer to everything, but can you spend 10 minutes, that 1%, 1% change is just brain dump. What do you think you need to get done? That list, honey, will change your business. Do you want to be more visible in your expertise? Maybe you're like, I know a lot about my industry. I know a lot about X. Great. But just because you know something doesn't make it the same as sharing something. Oh, but I'm not consistent. I don't have the time. People are going to have an opinion. Listen, I have just spent too much time wasting my life and energy caring about somebody's opinion about me when they were never going to be a customer or client to begin with. I feel like I need to say that again. If you are concerned about somebody's opinion who would never buy the thing you're selling, let me tell you, you're worried about the wrong person's opinion. And if you are sitting here and you are that much of a baddie that you say you are, write about it and share it. Now, if you're looking for like a general rule of thumb, 3 times a week, 3 times a week, make the commitment 3 times a week. That'll change. Because when you're focusing on getting just 1% better each and every day, your actions become doable. And your big projects that you want to get done, you're going to realize that you got them done by doing 1% a day. And just think, at the end of the year, you're going to be 365% better than you were when you started. That's huge. It's wildly significant. And it begins with just 1% every single day. So here is my question to you. And I know like this is a video and we're just having a conversation, but legit, I want to hear from you. What is the one thing you're going to do today to get 1% better? Now, and please do not tell me you're going to launch a podcast today. I'm sorry, that is not 1%. I am talking about the nitty gritty of doing the thing you want to do. So even if you were happenstance launching a podcast today, I'd clap you up. But what's the 1% thing that you're going to do today to promote that podcast, to get people excited about the podcast, to get people listening about the podcast? That is the thing I want to talk about. And I want to actually dive deep. Let's go deep. You're invited to my free Revenue Bootcamp. You could sign up. It is going to be 4 live sessions. We're going to go deep, y'all. If this has been anything that you have been excited or interested about, this is going to be me and you, jasminestar.com/bootcamp. Y'all, I really, really, really want to see how you are going to up level your life and up level your business. What we do is we have conversations that normalize things that might not have been normal for you. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you happened to grow up in a household that openly spoke about money, that openly spoke about business, that openly spoke about funding, that openly spoke about venture capital, getting a loan, angel investments, borrowing money, fundraising, if you grew up in that home, I want to tell you, you are so blessed. You are so lucky and fortunate that that was the nomenclature, that that was normal conversations in your home. But if you, like me, grew up in a household where we didn't talk about money because money is a thing and a word that is not to be uttered, we do not say those things that we do not have. Money wasn't spoken in my home because we didn't have it. Furthermore, I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and I have a twin sister, and my parents, in a very fragile financial situation, were using credit cards so that we could stay afloat. And then they realized that they were in over their heads. I will never forget sitting in a room watching my parents. There was this glass container filled with broken credit cards, and I saw my parents cutting credit cards to go into this glass container as they sat across the table from a person who explained just how hard and difficult it is, specifically for first generation families, for immigrant families, to get out of debt once you're in it. So this idea of money from childhood was shaped as this thing. It's like, ooh, you don't have it. Ooh, you can lose it. Ooh, the minute you receive it, it's going to flow right out. And it wasn't until adulthood that I started being around people where that conversation was normalized. It wasn't until I started walking into rooms where I was wildly different from the people in there. It's really rare for a female entrepreneur to make over $1 million. It's really, really, really rare for a female entrepreneur to make over $5 million. But I have to tell you, as rare as can be, it is so extraordinarily rare. In fact, 0.2%. Less than 1%, 0.2% of Latina founders will ever get funded from anywhere else, a bank, venture capital, angel investment. So when I found myself in rooms where I was the only female representative, where I was the only person with melanin in my skin, I thought to myself, I think I know how to do something. And that thing is creating revenue. I know how to create revenue. I built a business on it. Do I have all the answers? No, not at all. Do I position myself as a financial guru? No, not at all. But if you and I want to talk about business and optimizing your revenue and your income, we can have a conversation. In fact, I'm inviting you to that conversation. JasmineStar.com/bootcamp. I want to talk to you about building a business that just doesn't change your life, but it changes your family legacy. I can't wait to see you there. JasmineStar.com/bootcamp. It is free. And if it's for free, it's for me and for you. I'll see you there. Bye, y'all.